Hello, I'm Jason Riegelsberger, and welcome to another episode of Generation Who Cares. I want to say thank you to Matt here at Half Coast Studios for keeping the show running better than I possibly could. On our episode today, we have three men who are husbands, fathers, and maybe even your neighbor who share with us what it is like to navigate in today's world and give their perspective on everyday life. We were already into our conversation when we hit the record button, so we get right into it. I hope you enjoy the stories and discussion. Gentlemen, here we are. We're having a discussion about being in charge of our house, being dads, and what it's like to be dads today.
Yeah, when you say in charge, you mean like allegedly, right?
Yeah,
Proxy.
it could be. Absolutely. So, yeah, so I'm glad everybody's here. Thanks for coming. We got Kern, Steve, Kaylee, returning guest. And so Kaylee has already talked a lot on the microphone, so maybe you guys can talk a little bit more, but that's up
We
to
can
you
do
guys.
that.
Yeah.
There's one thing we can fill is air when we get in a room together.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
are good at that. That's for sure.
So, again, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And just wanted to talk a little bit about, first of all, what does everybody do? I mean, here we are. We're all 50 now. Is that correct?
Almost. December for me.
Okay, so you're the
Yep.
youngest one here.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
All right. Well, that's...
Newly minted.
Yeah.
Newly minted. 2
Kaylee a
weeks.
couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
11th of July.
Yeah. And
I've
then-
survived the last 4 months, I think. So
Yeah, that was in April. So, yeah, we've all kind of hit that number. And so looking back, you kind of think, the hell happened? Where did everything go? So, I think because of that, you start off as a kid, and now we're professional adults doing silly things.
Scary, right?
Yeah, it is. So, Kern, what do you do?
chiropractor,
Okay. And was that your goal from the very beginning?
something in medicine was the initial goal, and kind of fell my way into chiropractic. Found out I didn't like needles very quickly when the whole pre-med side of things was coming on, and yeah, needles and medicine, that's
Yeah.
go hand in hand. So ended up in chiropractic. Was interested in sports med side of things, and that brought me to St. Louis. And went to Logan College. Ended up sticking around here. 25 years later,
Yeah. And where are you originally from?
Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. So we have a second Canadian person here.
50,
right.
50-50 today.
Yeah, it is. It is. And what do you do, Steve?
Man, I'm in technology. So leadership and technology have been for the last like 27 years. I actually started my career in this office park.
Oh,
in
really?
1998, believe it or not, for a company called Bridge Information Systems.
Wow.
And took me a lot of different places, and it was a cool journey, right? It's been a cool journey for sure, but a lot of memories just where we are right now. But yeah, good times.
Yeah. Is that what were you thinking when you were 18, 20 years old at school? Or
When I was
Figure
in
it out.
school, I was going on my own dime. All right, so I wanted to. I left the house. I went to Mizzou, and I was kind of the first to kind of literally leave the St. Louis area to go make that happen. And I needed to do something to where when I got out, I was going to be able to pay off student loans. And technology was booming, right? The dot-com boom was happening in the late '90s, and through ice hockey, met a guy that worked at the company Bridge Information Systems, and they gave me an internship, and I was like, all right, cool, this is awesome. Stock market data and stuff like that. So I went to school for computer science. I was able to apply a lot of things. I was not good at like coding what I went to school for at all, but I was good with dealing with people.
You started in the basement, right?
I did
You were a
start in the
coder.
basement. Yeah. And they were like, you're not good at this, but you can talk to clients and you can talk to East Coast clients. How about you move to New York and go deal in like design technology? So that's kind of where I cut it. But I always wanted to be in leadership, and some doors opened in the 2001, 2002 timeframe. And I've kind of just grown from a leadership position ever since then, and moved a couple different companies, and
Yeah.
it's been good.
If I may.
Okay.
How
that's
many
your turn.
years? How
I
many
was
years with
with a-
Bridge? Then
Yeah, so that whole family lineage was 26 years. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
effectively one organization.
Yeah, one organization. Yeah, one company through different, buyouts, acquisitions, purchases, and things of that nature. So it was cool. Been on the side of getting bought, been on the buying side, and they each have their pros and their cons. But yeah, leadership in the technology space is where I'm at today.
Yeah. And to be in probably at the same company for that long is almost impossible now.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I mean, that was something in the 80s and 90s. You would have 30, 35 years with the same company. And
Pension.
Yep.
yeah, pension
Exactly.
and happiness. And now all of a sudden it's bought out and then you're fired. And then you have to reinvent yourself at 52 years old in order to make it work because you're
Right.
too young for, Medicaid and Social Security, but you're,
Is that a setup for my intro?
it is.
or-
It is. Oh, Kaylee, it's your turn. Yeah, you're up next. Kaylee's next, everybody.
No, because also in IT, is Steve and I work in the same industry, not in leadership, individual contributor. Started in 2002, and yeah, it is a lot of change.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of change, right? And Steve's track is incredibly uncommon in
Yeah.
the industry in which we work. So
Yeah.
It was a fun one, but you forge away, and I think it's awesome where you go from a place to a different place. I think you learn a lot about different cultures and companies and things like that. I was lucky enough to where I was. It was fun. Like I totally enjoyed the people that I was around. That was a key component of it.
you're there that long, though. You are the culture.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit.
You are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think what's interesting is everybody kind of wanted to do somewhat of what you're in profession now. You wanted to be a doctor, but without needles.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think I just wanted to think, and these guys will attest and you as friends. Like, I think I like to help people.
Mhm.
I'm involved a lot with helping people in different perspectives, and so that from a profession, it does help, and it's rewarding, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
One of
Well,
the
we're
most
also-
giving
yeah.
individuals that I know, Kern, as far as to what you do to friend groups and stuff like that, how you want to put yourself out there and say, I'll take this, baton to go help this area or whatever. It's makes you unique, dude.
caregiver.
Yeah.
For sure.
What people?
But if we're all being honest, I mean, why are we four of us around this table?
Oh yeah.
Really, right? I mean, we all wanted to be professional hockey players when we were kids, right? Just
Al
like
McKinnon.
Moneyball, though. At
Absolutely.
some point, you
Yeah.
get told no,
I wanted to be Al
Like-
McInnes growing up in
Yeah.
Calgary.
right? I mean,
Yeah. That is true.
And I think
Well,
that
who'd you wanna
ultimately-
be?
I think ultimately, though, we're four pretty pragmatic people. As you kind of
Yeah.
leaned into too as well. Like you're just like, hey, I'm on my own dime here. How am I going to make money? How am I
Yeah.
going to? How am
I
I going
have to be able
have a
to-
family and provide and take care and be a man?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's I think that's the challenge for today too, because of all, like I said, you could be let go tomorrow and everything could crash down. You have to reinvent yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
that's basically how it is. I wanted to be a meteorologist and actually went to school at Mizzou and SLU
I'm
for
sorry, what?
that.
This is new information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
I
not
didn't
know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
For real?
Partly cloudy tomorrow. We'll have a high around 25. So yeah.
Oh my
so I
God.
Were you the guy on the
Who
phone?
Who on Anchorman
Exactly.
was the weatherman?
3, 2,
It was
1,
Steve Carroll's
2, 2,
character.
2, 2. That was
Brick
weather.
cannon,
Yeah, he loves
brick cannon,
he loves
loud
lamp.
noises.
Yeah.
He loves lamp.
Yeah. But I knew that as soon as I started working on differential equations, it wasn't going to happen. So,
Yeah, that math class is not fun.
yeah, I'm like, what are we talking about? Is this even normal
Crushed by the
things?
barometric pressure.
Yeah. So, ended up not going in that direction. Still a big fan of weather.
You have to be.
Yeah.
Big
Big fan.
It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to see what's
Yeah.
going on because you can't control it. You can't really, you can sort of predict it, right? There's patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it does fascinate
Yeah.
me to
Yeah.
this day.
So then I decided to tool around a little bit and ended up working with our friend Steve
Yeah.
Lechner, and was with him for 14 years before I went on my own. So I've been in
That's
real
awesome.
estate for 21 years, but that
Mhm.
was not even remotely the goal or thought process.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
going on your own, that's a big thing, dude.
Oh yeah,
To
it
take
was
that
scary.
leap.
It was
Yeah.
pretty scary to be quite honest, but I was okay with it. I was ready, and I really thought, if it doesn't work, I can always go back to something else, but I'm going to do the best I can. So that's the tough part is trying to just have that stability and maintain.
Yeah.
you own kind of your own little practice. So,
Mhm.
you're in charge, but at the same time, you're the one that you have to perform. I do have employees and they perform, but if they don't, I feel as if it's on me that I didn't teach them or help them in a way to make that happen.
because
So
it is.
it is. It is.
It's the way of the world.
First,
Yeah.
first rule of leadership.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
Everything is your fault.
Yeah. There's a
Yep.
And
responsibility.
if you're winning,
But
it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
It's the
Right?
team.
It's the team.
That is very true. Well, thanks for sharing all that information and kind of get an idea of exactly where we're at today. Because of our age, we are Generation X people, so we kind of grew up in a time frame where we started off not wearing seatbelts in the car. We probably
Sitting backwards in the car in the rear view
Oh, yeah.
of the station wagon,
we were out till midnight and nobody knew how or why.
Mhm.
or where.
Yeah, and then we ended up hurting ourselves, and we just dusted ourselves off and kept moving on. So,
Transition of black and white to color.
oh, that's right.
Was part of our gen.
That's right.
TV
man.
commercials at 10 p.m. that prompted our parents. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your
Do you
kids
know
are?
where your children are?
Like that. That was how we grew up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Just insane
yeah,
to think about now, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's
It brings
10
back some
p.m.
memories.
Do you know where your children are?
and we were out underneath the street light, throwing rocks at certain things or causing problems.
Or when
and-
the street lights came on, that was when it was time to go home.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because for us in Western Canada, they came on at 10 o'clock. It was light till 10. When I came on, it was time to go home. Like, okay.
what was it like in
No
the?
air
So you weren't
tags.
out very late then during the winter.
Street lights came on at about 4:30.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you weren't
But
out
it-
very long.
But it was great because, in the winter, 'cause we could, it was all about hockey, right? And so it was, again, the four of us getting together via hockey. And so lived and died hockey as a kid. And so you were playing street hockey under those street lights. You were playing, if you're fortunate enough to have someone who had a floodlight on a sheet of ice, and you would skate until they kicked you off. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really changed. So how, as parents, are we figuring out how to teach our kids the same type of goals that our parents gave us, which was you guys can go out and play, you can have a good time. Obviously, technology has changed everything 100%. I mean, I can't get my youngest, who's 15, to even come out of her room for 13 hours out of the day. And it's not that I don't, ask her to come out or anything, but she has her phone in her hand or she has a television in her room and Netflix or something, and it's done. So I have had struggles a little bit trying to figure out, as a dad, how do I put the hammer down and say, you need to come out here and hang out with your mom and I and do those things. Have you guys had struggles with that? Is that something that you've tried to, I think, stop if you can? You have 4 girls, Kaylee. So I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I mean,
how,
absolutely, right? I mean, it's but I always put myself back, like, if that was me, what would I do? Right? And I would probably do exactly what it is they're doing,
Yeah.
right? So you have to kind of reverse engineer all of it, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, right, it's probably one of the most frustrating parts of raising kids, I've found anyway, is those moments where you're just like they get you wrapped around the axle about something they're doing, and it dawns on you that it's you, right? You're like
yeah.
you're seeing maybe the parts of yourself that you're like, oh, I wish I didn't do it that way, or they're yours. So it's
I tell you, one
It's
of
a
the
lot.
things that for me, and especially in the last, really, it started with COVID, is with that, there was no social interaction. And thankfully, my kids at the time were 14, 11, and 8. And video games online was getting to be much, much more prevalent, and especially age-appropriate video games more prevalent. And we tried to limit the amount that they would play. You're trying to limit the screen time, but then you found out that this was the social interaction. You come down, well, who are you playing with? Oh, I'm playing with this friend. I'm playing with that friend. And then the limits of the time all of a sudden became more and more and more because, well, at least you're getting interaction. You're talking to other people. You're interacting with your peers. And so our leniency with that, and now even with phones, like you'd go up and what are you doing? I'm playing a game on my phone. All right, well, instead of jumping, too much screen time. I've started to learn to ask, well, what are you doing? What are you doing on that phone? And well, I'm playing this game with my friend. I'm playing this, doing this, where we're interacting with this, and so it is a little, the ride your bikes till those street lights come on. I think this generation is, well, I'm interacting, but I'm interacting online. And again, with the technology, they're talking to each other a lot of the times, and so, you kind of, like you said, what would you do? And you roll with the punches, and
Yeah.
I view it as overall a positive thing.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, kind of weird, right? Like my mom and dad, they gave us tons of rope to go do what we wanted to do. I mean, like we were gone to the street lights came on, and we were out in the woods playing around the house where we grew up, etc. So and I was active like with my brother and my sister, my brothers and my sister and stuff like that. And the thing that's different about today is that they are like everybody's connected. And when we were growing up, we weren't like hyperly scheduled to go do things, right? I think we as parents, at least in my house, like okay, you're gonna try swim and soccer and you know baseball and football and volleyball and all. You're gonna do all of these different things. So there was like a hyper scheduled type of activity that we got to, and
Mhm.
I think kids, because they were so hyper scheduled and they were in different activities, and at my house, when they got home, they would retreat, they would be on their phones and stuff like that. So what I did kind of selfishly was, I've got some hobbies that I love to do. I love to hunt, I love to fish, love to golf, and I love to snowboard, right? So I'm like, I'm getting my kids into those things. So as I get older and they get older, we're gonna have our time to go do those types of things because we're not gonna be able to break it. I'm not gonna be able to say, you're off your phone, you're grounded now, my son's going off to college. I can't control his screen time anymore. I can't tell him what he can and can't do. He's 18 years old, right? My daughter's 16. But we did some things, as a family, and we like to travel together and do stuff like that. But I have my time with them to where I can have the cart ride to where we can talk, have a conversation that needs to be had. Now, if there's something that needs to be had immediately, always, right? That's going to happen. But I wanted to set up some things to where no matter what, we're going to have some time, a couple times a year as things get older, that we're going to be able to spend and share and create memories because I think that's what it's all about. But like the adolescent years and stuff like that, it was frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, get off the phone. We're at the dinner table. Don't even bring it to the dinner table. We got to talk, and
You got to come
that
up
is,
with those new boundaries, right?
oh yeah,
Like
100%. And
you
and
have
they're
it
ever
it's
moving.
part of your life. It's part of how you interact with your community. Like, I can't imagine being 13 and 14 years old. And
Yeah.
I understand why a lot of people don't want their children exposed to it. I get that.
Yeah.
But I also don't like that's the world in which we're all
Yeah.
operating in now, right?
Yeah, you
So
can't escape it.
you
I mean,
can't,
it's
right?
just
So you have to
over.
figure out how, the slipstream side of it. Like, how do I slide into this and still maintain those qualities and values that you want in your kids and
Yeah.
build the character and do all that stuff? But,
It's
eh,
there.
the
Yeah.
challenges of being a parent, they don't change, they morph,
Yeah.
right? Like and I think it probably requires us, generationally, to be, you have to be a lot more present,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah,
As a
definitely.
parent,
Big time.
with these kids, everything they're going through, right? Like with technology specifically, and the fact that they're 24/7 on, right? Like we could have an incident happen at school, right? And whatever, like 3:30, you're on the bus and you go home and you don't have to deal with it directly until the next day at 9 when you get off the bus and go to school again, right? So you
Yeah.
have all that time to process and think and how are you going to do like, and now it
By
is
3:31,
24/7,
everybody knows what happened.
365,
Yeah.
and
Boom.
and
Yeah.
exactly, and it's broadcast
Yeah.
to everyone,
I know.
right? So like I can't even begin to imagine that pressure. And then you talked about the structure
Mhm.
that exists today for kids in sport in anything.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Well, let me ask.
I can't imagine, right, leaning into that with my kids anyway. Like I'm constantly trying to pull it off of them.
Mhm.
Like, this doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. So that when something actually does come up that's important, or I need them or want them to lean into, I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh, like, this must matter, because usually dad's like, don't worry about that, don't worry about that, but like, he's leaning into this, so this must matter, right? So it's the reason I just bring that up is, again, you have to be so engaged, where it was just different for our parents.
Yeah.
It was just different.
Well, part of it, you
Yeah.
think about, like, in general, like, it wasn't the case for me from school perspective, but it was for sports and neighborhoods. So much of it was right there, where I could ride my bike here and there, and everything seemed to have a connectivity to it, where, again, they didn't have a concern, and I had friends that were in close proximity.
The world was way smaller.
Way
Versus
smaller.
whether it's sports now, that it is all competitive, and therefore you have kids from all over a region, not just 5 neighborhoods.
Mhm.
You have schools now that now we're going to this school, and we're not going to the neighborhood school anymore. And it creates a different, again, social dynamic, because it's not easy for you to jump on the bike or walk over to your buddy's place, unless you have a unicorn where your friends are literally across the
Mhm.
street from you.
Or even if you do, you go to your bike to your buddy's place, and he jumped on a plane on Thursday to go fly to Dallas to play hockey in August, and you're like, wait, what? Where'd he go? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so different.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also, to me, there's a lot of pressure on kids. I mean, my daughter's 22. She had a friend. They played softball literally from the time they were 5 years old through high school. And by the time she got to college, and she was a quality player, I mean, she was really, really good, she just said, I'm done. And so after 13 years of doing every single tournament and playing, every single
Extra
day.
sessions and
Yeah. So then the question becomes, are the parents living this life through their kids and pushing them to the point where the kids don't have an opportunity? Like, did that kid have a chance to go play on the beach? I mean, how many vacations did they play or go to? Well, they couldn't, because they had a tournament that weekend or that week. How many times did that happen?
Yeah.
Because then when you look back at it, I would say I would have never done that to my kid. I wouldn't have said, you're playing in a tournament, we could go to Florida. That happens a lot more. And everybody, like you said, everybody's also on a select team. There's not just
And that's the big point, I
Yeah.
think, is that as a parent, you want your kids to have the opportunity to grow within a sport, and to try to feel what success feels like, and understand team and work ethic and the intent of we have a sport. The problem is that very quickly, at a very young age, you end up having very recreational and very elite, and the middle ground, where you can go and play a sport for 3 or 4 months and then move on to another sport for 3 or 4 months, doesn't exist anymore. It's an 11-month cycle with these sports, starting at 8 or 9 years old, and I think that's a big problem that has to be addressed. And
It's bonkers, man.
Yes.
No 8-year-old goes and says, "All right, you know what? I'm going to put 3 different sports on my calendar for the year, and I'm going to do this practice on Tuesday, I'm going to do actually 2 on Wednesday." The parents, at least we hyper scheduled the kids, and I look
Mhm.
back and say it'd have been awesome to give them more time to
Mhm.
actually just go and be a kid. And when you were talking about COVID, that was the first time in my kid's life that I actually saw them live a life that I did, to where, you know what? It was get up, get on your bike, and go ride down and go play in the woods, right? They didn't have any of that stuff until 2020 happened and everything shut down, to where they were able
Have
to
they
just.
ever gigged?
They have gigged.
They have gigged.
They have gigged. But I think that we kind of robbed them of some time, some free space, some things that they could go experience on their own, right?
Yeah.
rather than sitting in a car, driving to a practice, or being on the sideline. Now they created amazing friendships and stuff like that. So there's a little give and take, but it was cool to see them in that spot. And then Kern, like you said, like the neighborhoods got way tighter at that time too, right? To where they got tighter with the kids in the neighborhood that they didn't go to school with, or that they weren't on the same team with, to where they were able to bond, and it created different relationships that'll last a long time. But yeah, the hyper scheduling, that's on our shoulders, in my opinion.
Well,
That's
what's crazy is our parents didn't do that.
Nope.
So where was the transition at some point where that changed? Because I think that,
Money.
well, that's part of
Pro sports turned into like this mega machine, right? Like, think about it. When we were kids, right? We're all hockey guys. They were not making that much money.
no.
We actually lived the era where it just went like bananas. Like the salary cap as it exists today, I think is a direct result of what we watched growing up as kids, right? Because you had, the Burres of the world and the Fedorovs, and I don't know
You
why
go
I just
back
named two
before-
Russian players, but, no, but like they made a lot of money.
What's
and
that
then,
guy's
and
name?
then in the early 2000s,
Gritsky? How do you say it? Grits.
but he tried to give it away,
Gritzel?
right?
What's the commercial? Wayne Jetski.
Yeah, right.
Dwayne Jetski.
Dwayne Jetski.
But actually, now you and I have talked about this with Messier's book, with Gretzky and Messier and their contract disputes, and how that opened everything up and changed. And all of a sudden, kids are like, whoa, make $1 million doing this hockey thing? And all of a sudden, well, I can get your kids to make $1 million if you come to my coaching thing that is this much per week extra. Like, hockey was never an option in the summer, ever. And then one of my cousins, who's about 8 or 9 years younger than me, all of a sudden he started the spring hockey and the summer hockey, and
We needed the rinks cleared out in the summer for the Stag and Does. Right? They weren't covering the ice. They were taking the
Or
ice
the
out,
ball,
and then all the Stag and Does would happen in the summer, and everybody get married early fall. I mean, seriously, though, that's like the heartbeat of rural Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, right? So
I think there were two driving factors for it. So one, social media. Okay. Two, the sports definitely became more competitive, and if you wanted to be competitive and you weren't playing in the summer, if you were in a winter sport, you weren't playing in the summer, kids passed you by at those young ages if you weren't engaged at all time, and vice versa. If you were a summer sport, you weren't playing in fall ball or whatever, kids passed you by. Like, time on the field, reps, whatever you're doing, it makes a difference. And then you're like, oh God, I don't want to be on the C team, I want to be on the B team. That stuff's being posted on social media. You see in some way, shape, or form of how people are either being included or excluded. So it creates this hyperactivity to where, oh my gosh, it's visible for everybody, including the kids, depending upon when they got their first device. And then it was like it started to feed itself. Like, so now there's this beast. I have to go to practice, otherwise I won't be on the elite team. And if I take a season off, I'm going to drop back, and the coaches aren't going to like me. And oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to be part of this crew that I like to be a part of. And
the parents are part of that.
Oh, 100%. I think the parents
perspective
feel it
too.
the most, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Because if you were to ask a kid, in my opinion, there's a few that would be like, hey, do you want to go play soccer today, or do you want to go fishing? There are some kids that would be like, I want to go fishing. And the parents are like, there's no fishing time. It's just soccer time, right? So it kind of took that ability for them to make a decision for themselves away at a young age, because it was so hyper scheduled.
I remember like going to the airport here in St. Louis in 2003. So this is kind of pre-social media, right? It's just getting going, and seeing 10-year-olds with hockey bags on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think you and I talked about this in the first time we did this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
First
if I was in
episode.
the car for more than 45 minutes going to a hockey game, when I was growing up, like, I thought I was going to Europe. I'm like, where are we going? Like, where are we playing? And again, 10-year-olds
And I was a part
on
of that.
airplanes. And, it's so escaped my reality anyway. Like I'm just like I don't, but
I was the
people with
assistant
means,
coach
people
for the
can.
AAA Junior Blues. I was the defensive coach for them for one season. The 9-year-olds, first year they had 9-year-olds, and I think we took 4 plane rides that year. We were on the road 14 weekends.
So I get to back you up, Steve, on that.
It's
Then like
amazing.
that, the social media just then amped it,
100%.
right? Like
Steroids.
it just totally was gasoline on a fire that was already lit.
I think one of those kids are still playing now. They would be 31 years old. And I think one is still playing. He's a goalie in the ECHL.
Now that said, though, too, what was the draft? You're the perfect person to ask this.
Yeah.
What draft year was it when like 6 St. Louis kids went in the first round?
Yeah. They were all in the World Juniors
was
team
all-
together. They
it was
called
all
them the St. Louis
Brown.
Connection.
The Cavallinis, the McKinnises,
Oh, yeah.
right? All the kids that came up with those guys coaching them, right? There was just like this gaggle of
So
kids.
he's the goalie that Wool, right, was on the team.
No,
he's
we're
the
talking
goalie for
Clayton Keller and
Is it Chuck?
Frederick.
I wanna say
and
one of the Kachucks.
Kachucks were that
Yeah.
part of that.
Probably Brady or
it was
not
Matthew.
Brady.
He was 6th overall to the Flames.
Wasn't Moen the McRae?
Shocker that you knew that.
Yeah, I know. It's there were 4 St. Louis kids that year.
Yeah.
So,
Wool was one of them. He was the goalie
Goalie
on the
for
World's
Toronto.
Junior. He's
eh,
he's Toronto now. He finished up their playoff run. But yeah,
yeah, and you look at the
it happened.
It happened. So it's and that's the thing is you look at as a parent, you look at the possibility. Could my kid get to that next level, right? And it fuels it as well. Do you want to be the dad who deprives your child of achieving their dream? And so we do get fed into it very quickly. And at the same time, you also have to understand when you do hit the wall. It's I would always coach up until like 12 and 13-year-olds. I wasn't good enough to coach beyond that. And
How's that possible?
Just phenomenal guys who are out there who coach and understand the game far more than I do. But to watch how these kids would push themselves and their parents would push themselves, and at the same time genetics takes hold, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
at that age, you don't teach 6'5" and 170 pounds at 14 years old. And I saw it, and it's crazy. And so yeah, you got to be, as a parent, you have to be a realist, and we've had those discussions in my house, okay, well, if you want to do this, here's what it's going to take to have a chance,
Mhm.
and we've decided on multiple different sports that, what, I'm just going to play it for fun. I'm going to enjoy it, and we're going to then use it as exercise and teamwork and camaraderie and fun in high school. Like, kind of got to the point where my wife and I,
Isn't that the whole point of it?
well,
Live, right? Develop character,
it is,
learn
yeah.
some skills, develop character, learn to be part of a team.
That leadership.
But
Commit.
yeah.
But then at
Lean
the
in.
at
Yeah.
the high school level, it takes on a little bit different thing because now with social media, and again, high school is different. And so one of the things that we looked at is, okay, well, let's see if we can get our kids have the ability to do something in addition at high school to help with the friend circle, to help get them plugged in, to help continue to build character and everything. And so we've been pretty successful so far. We've had some good results at the high school level. My kids have been, I think, pretty happy with what they've done, and we're very ecstatic with what they've done. And so it's been, I think, if you want to gauge success, I think that's something we're pretty happy with.
I probably how much we have to be engaged with our kids,
Yeah.
right? Because of the technology and because of all, we just have to stay still engaged. But at the same time, like, it almost sounds like I'm saying my parents weren't. I had a phenomenal childhood, right? Like, they were and are amazing. So how I think a challenge for us, and I think so many parents, because you do get so over involved potentially,
Yeah.
that like you're not letting them go at the same time, right? So like that whole trying to balance all the great that we grew up with, as we talked about, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Right? And still at the same time, staying close enough to them as they're going through this technology and the 24/7, 365 bombardment, right? What's that balance look like? Right?
Well, I can tell you that there is a fundamental change when they turn 18. So I have two children. One's 22 and the other one turns 21 in 2 months. And when they I do have one more, but it's only 15. Yeah. She's only 15. But
Matt, you're gonna have to edit that.
I do have a third.
Children.
Yeah. That are over 20.
Yeah.
But
Slight misstep.
the problem is that when they turn 18, they legally no longer have to pay attention to what you're saying. Because when we were older, if you're living under my house, you're going those days are kind of over because yes, that is the rule somewhat, but at the same time, and that's my wife and I really got, I think, kind of shocked because my daughter turned 19 or 18, and at 19 she went to the doctor because she wasn't feeling well. We went there as well, and we couldn't go in and we couldn't sign any of the documents. And that was the first time that we kind of realized, oh,
She's an adult.
yeah, we don't have that.
On their own.
Yeah, and so I can tell you,
On
Rights.
your insurance or
Your
whatever,
parental
but
rights,
but you can't.
You can pay for it,
yeah.
but you don't
But
get
you
to make
can't-
any of
yeah.
the decisions.
And again, it was a little bit of a shock for us because we had, this is our first kid, and all of a sudden now we just don't have any right to make decisions for her or anything like that. So it does change. I know you don't have that yet, and you just 18, 19, so you're coming up with that now, but you get used to that because then you kind of realize, well, I was 20 at one point, and my parents, were they on top of me, or did they even let me realize that I can kind of go out and start doing stuff on my own? So I'm okay with it now, especially my son. He turns 21. He's going to Mo State in a couple weeks, and he's already left, even though he's still at the house eating all the food. But it's like, I'm okay with that. It's time for him to go
It's
and
time.
and let him do it, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think
that's
if you go
the hard
back
part.
to 70s and 80s, a lot of times the cord would just be cut where you could go good. And I think now with some of the different societal rules and obligations, you've got what? Goofballs.
All kind of weird noises.
Your stomach's rumbling.
He hasn't eaten since
No.
this morning.
But what did you guys do before? No, but with the cord would be cut, and then now, I mean, you need to have a car. Car was a privilege before. Now to eat, car is a necessity. Technology isn't cheap; it's a necessity. College, obviously, is a very different cost point than what it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and so
10 years ago.
yeah, and there is that relationship is still there. I think that what we're finding is rather than cutting the cord, you're cutting a string at the time and just kind of, okay, here we go with this piece, there we go with this piece, here we go with this piece, and I think it's a little easier on mom and dad. And at the same time, I think it's a little harder on mom and dad.
My name's Steve Grable. These are the noises that I make.
My stomach.
What is going on, guy?
I don't know, man.
Holy
You
smokes.
should have eat something.
Digesting.
Carnival over there.
Yeah. So it draws it out though, because and we have friends who have kids that moved back in, and they're there for a year or two to help them with moving into life and buying a house and different things, and that's fantastic. And so I think there's different pathways now. I think more choices now that we have as parents, how to help our kids as they move through 18 through 24, 25. And I think weren't quite as available, I think, when we were kids either.
I
No.
think we might be, honestly, the last one generationally through the wickets where everything was still up for grabs, right?
Yeah.
Where you could just go out, grind it, and earn it.
Yeah.
And now it does not, at least as I'm looking at it. And again, you're in it, and you both are walking through it right
Mhm.
now. And I wouldn't wish it on any of them. It just doesn't
I-
feel.
I
it
think
feels
that
like
it's
the-
still you
Yeah.
gotta grind it. You gotta work for it no matter what. Period. Like you
100%.
you're not going to. There are some people that may have something dropped in and just be like, here you go. This is a thing that you
Baby
just
bird.
you know and it's you're just gonna live with it because you have some type of fortunate situation. But none of us come from that. And if you're gonna make your mark, the only way you make your mark is through hard work, right? You got to bust your ass. You got to look left and right and say, what are they doing? How do I stay a step ahead or whatever? I mean, that's the way the business is. And that's kind of like Kermit, I was saying, like, cutting one string. I love that analogy. And I want them to cut the strings. Like,
Mhm.
I think that, Jason, when you were talking about the kids, they're moving out, right? Son's still eating the food. I want to be able to do that, but know that, listen, like my son, he's getting ready to head off to college. This is on you. You have to go and do the work,
Yeah.
right? We're not going to be able to do the work for you. You've got an opportunity. You got to look opportunity in the eye, and you got to knock it out, right? And that accountability, it's a key word, and I would say accountability, right? You got to own things. You got to be accountable for what you do. Kind of in life, are you going to be a good person? You're going to be a bad person? How you going to treat people? Be accountable for those things and work freaking hard and know that it's never going to feel easy. You're always going to have to take that extra step, but also look back and say, I've done a good job when you've done, but know when you have made a mistake, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up, right?
Yeah.
I think it's crazy how in social media, like, people will blast something. Someone makes a mistake. Everybody knows about it. We didn't have that when we were growing up, right?
No.
Make mistakes. That's human. Do it. Learn from it. Move forward.
Well, we're
right?
still doing our jobs today. I mean,
all the
we're-
time.
Absolutely.
we've been doing what we've been doing for a long time, and
Yeah.
we still make mistakes every day.
Yes.
And we still have to come up with something new. I always say we have to reinvent yourself. And what I've been telling some of the younger people that work for me and my son's friends and even my daughter's friends is relationships are so important. Your job, basically, you knew somebody.
Yeah.
You kind of had that relationship.
Mhm.
You kind of had the same thing when you were here. Kern just kind of threw himself into Logan, and next thing you know, he's got his own business. But
Far from it.
Parking cars at Harry's. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
but it's all about relationships as well. And a lot of these kids today, because of social media and being behind their phone and just seeing some of these things, they don't get that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question
It's
about the
okay to be
relationship
that.
thing. They
Yeah.
don't. And this is something I try to tell my kids. All right. So I knew the person that gave me a shot to go do something. I don't want to fail that person any way, shape, or form. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to work even harder because people may know that I know this person. Right. When those doors open out of opportunity, you have to outwork the individuals. There's no free ride. It actually should be harder on the individual that has that opportunity because that door is has opened. Don't let it slam you in the face because you soiled it and you didn't put it all in.
Mhm.
Like, that is a thing that needs to be held like it's sacred. Never soil an opportunity because you didn't put in the work.
Yeah.
And then no one can say, "Oh yeah, you're riding the coattails or you're doing whatever it is." No, I'm outworking everybody next to me. I had an opportunity, but I'm taking advantage of that. Take advantage of that opportunity if that happens, but you got to outwork the people left and right of you. If you
To me,
don't,
you just defined accountability,
bingo.
right? And like whatever door opens up, whatever opportunity that you're given, regardless of whether, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
does not matter, but you have to earn it. Once that door is open, you have to step through it and you have to own it and earn it. And that, to me, that's accountability.
There's a buddy of mine. His name's Shiv, and so he grew up in India, came to the U.S. and was part of a company selling pagers, right?
Tough handle for an
And
immigrant.
yeah, I think I love it. It's one of the best.
You still have your
And a great
pager, right,
dude.
Jonesy?
But
I'm talking about an implement to
he was
stab somebody in prison is a nickname.
he was going door to door selling pagers, right? And to businesses and stuff like that. It was not going well, and he was in a bad spot. Like this is in the late '90s, early 2000s. As a young guy, he's our age, and he's like he told me a story. He's like I was sitting on a park bench. I don't want to say it was in New York, maybe San Francisco was one of the coasts, and this woman was like walking by, and she's like, "Hey, what's wrong? You look like you're kind of upset." And he was like, "Oh, thanks for asking the question." He's like, "I am." He's like, I'm struggling with this job. He's like, "I don't know if I'm cut out for it." She's like, "Tell me what you do." And he told her what he did, and she wound up owning like, I don't know, some clothing store that had like 55 different branches. And she was like, "I'm actually getting ready to buy this." She's like, "I'll buy every one of those my like these pages that I want to have everybody like connected on it from you," and it freaking lifted off and took him off from there. Right, that door opened and he kicked it in, and I mean that gave him kind of a confidence booster too to be ultimately successful. And the guy's killed it. I mean he's a killer.
Grinder.
Like he made it happen, but like it gets down. Have the confidence for the kids. Like, you got to tell you, like, there's going to be these pits, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can't be like, "Oh my God," because everyone posts everything that it's all the glory. There's none of the shitty times,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they
And
don't
that's the
show
thing.
behind it.
That-
Yeah.
that-
Where,
that's
do-
right.
where does
So you
conf-
know that there's
where's
going to be these
confidence
dips.
born?
Yeah.
That's right.
Right? Where
Through
the
that
confidence
situation.
is typically born in the fire.
Yeah.
Right? It's not
Oh,
in the
yeah.
things that are handed to you or the doors you just open up. It's you have to earn it. Right? It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. You have to earn it. Otherwise, it's hollow.
Yeah.
And when you're put under fire, it'll show.
And when you put it forward, then you own it. And when you have ownership on it, right? Fingerprints are there, and you go, "I don't want it to look bad. Let's go."
How often have you told your kids that story?
About Shiv?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've met Shiv.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but they know that part
They-
of the story?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's like a confidence booster. They're all going to go. Every one of us. We as we sit here today at 50, we're gonna have other ups and downs, right? You got to see through it to get to tomorrow, and our kids got to see through it to create careers, create families. Oh my God, think about husbands, wives, kids, raising kids, the ups and downs, and doing that. There's no freaking manual, right? You don't know how this child's going to come out, their personality, how you're going to gel, etc. It creates all kinds of things. It's a very fluid environment that you have to go through and know that there is a pit that can happen, but there can be the greatest of mountains
Yeah.
that you can also experience. But it's persevere, right? It's not all rainbows and sunny
Unicorns,
days, right?
yeah.
You gotta grind through it.
Well, I take advantage of like story like that, and I've told your guys' stories that you've shared with me with my kids because they're very successful and they're very unique, and how the circumstances presented to yourself. In your case, how another opportunity opens up from someone you knew from 10 years ago because you treated them well and you did the right thing. And the story for yourself, Steve, where you were in the meeting and someone couldn't explain something and you did, and that helped take off, and how opportunity and taking advantage of the situation, and we could go on for even an hour just about that with our friend group that we know, and so I think trying to communicate those lessons to our kids, because those opportunities will knock at inopportune times and unusual times, and
Yeah.
being aware and being present and being accountable, I think, and ready to take on those are very important. And so that's one of the things that I've tried to do. I mean, we did. My wife came up with a brilliant idea, and I would give all credit to her. She suggested at one point that we do a father-son 13-year-old trip, of where it's just me and one kid, and they got to plan it, and the rule was we had to drive, and so anywhere we could drive. And so with my firstborn went to Kansas City, second we went to Chicago, third we went down to Branson, and they got to plan all the stuff we got to do, but it was time. Got to sit and eat dinner and tell stories and talk about different things and little things. I mean, obviously at 13, you're not giving life lessons to, you know, Shiv got soul pagers, um, but just being able to hint at little things of that and to build upon that, and that's led into stories and conversations at 15 and 16 and 17. And then I will say, you know, you're going to have an opportunity to drive with your son to his college, and it's, you know, 4 or 5 hours away. Enjoy those rides because you're going to have
Oh, yeah.
great conversations. I've had a ton driving my 19-year-old back and forth, and you know, sometimes there's not a lot of talking, and sometimes there's a ton of talking, and it's fantastic. And be able to try to, you know, give little pearls, and at the same time just listen.
I can tell you they don't talk at 15.
They don't.
My daughter and I sat in the car for 30 minutes the other day. She didn't say one word.
Thresholds. I've experienced it driving, doing the trips for volleyball and soccer.
Yep.
For me, that there's the
That
threshold.
one.
They're like on the phone. They don't want to talk.
Yeah.
After about 25, 30 minutes, like all of a sudden they'll go down and something will come up.
Yeah.
And you can step through that door. But dude, it's. I got invited by my 14-year-old. Invited. She's like, "Will you buy the tickets and can we go together?" She's like, "Will you take me to Luke Bryan?"
Preface with,
I
can
said,
you buy the
It's
tickets?
tomorrow.
And
No,
you can go to, I
no,
know.
She's
Yeah.
like, can we go to Luke Bryan?
At least you
next
got invited.
Thursday?"
I'm a ride for my
Yeah,
daughter
and
tomorrow.
I'm like,
You take me to.
she's 14.
Yeah.
She's 14 years old.
Mhm.
And I got tapped. Now, I got tapped because probably with my wife, but my wife hates country music. She knows dad loves it. But it was still just like that. This is the time. I remember, right? Like you start to pull away a little bit. You become your own person. So just even to get that tap
Yeah.
at that age was just like, I'm like, yeah, all right. You know,
Yeah.
doing okay.
No,
I remember
Badass.
I remember as a kid the tap where I got to go to a Calgary Flames game, and it was a big deal because
Like with your dad?
with my dad.
Oh, with Ian. Oh, yeah.
And it was
is a big deal.
It was a big deal because you know it was
Shout out to Ian McMurtry.
because when you went to those things back in the 80s, there weren't kids there. Like we go to sporting events now, there's
Yep,
kids
kids
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
Line in the
all
glass.
it was then was beer and cigarettes.
Beer,
Oh, yeah,
cigarettes,
absolutely.
suits, corporate
Yeah.
stuff, business stuff.
Yeah.
It was the couple's night out. It wasn't kids, and so you know I would get maybe one a year when I was about 12 or 13, and it was a big deal and it meant a lot and it was cool. And I still remember listening to the post game show as we're sitting in the parking lot driving home and we're talking about what they're talking about, and just it was cool. Like just those kind of memories I will never forget.
Yeah, yeah, and you gotta take them now with your kids because again, my daughter, I will text her all day, I'll get nothing, and then I'll experiment and say, "What do you want for dinner?" Right away, I get an answer. I'm like, "Is that all I'm used
Dude,
for?"
get better. Get better, Burger. Ask better questions. First rule in sales.
yeah,
Ask better questions.
yeah. So I don't know. It's that's kind of how it goes. Yeah.
The yeah, we've started trying to do experiences as you know Christmas presents. So we try to have moments
Oh yeah.
like that with the kids, and Jonesy will attest. We had a phenomenal miss with our. I think he was 16 or 17 at the time, and we went to the Adam Sandler concert. And it was my wife and myself and my 16-year-old at the time. And you figure,
16-year-old thought it was awesome.
oh, he did. And Adam Sandler, you see it, the Billy Madisons, the Happy Gilmore 2, and all that stuff. And
See that shampoo bottle?
it was
Conditioner is better.
oh,
Oh yeah.
it was
Weird place to be with your mom.
90%
Weird place to be with your mom as a 16-year-old boy.
offside, and it was some miss, and so we saw Luke Combs with the middle one, and that was a great experience. But some are misses, in terms of you don't want to necessarily listen to this, but speaking of Sandler, I mean my kids wanted to watch Happy Gilmore 2 with me, like we're gonna watch it together.
Yeah.
And we had a blast, and it's stupid, and it's fun, and stupid, and as having a 13, 16, and 19-year-old, and Dad had a couple of cocktails before the movie, so I enjoyed it. But we had, again, it was just a fun night with the four of us and a lot of giggles. So it was
Sorry, did you
Well,
say
I
giggles?
think
giggles,
with,
fun, laughs.
yeah, and I think with with all of the I guess as the kids are getting older, my wife and I have kind of found kind of like a resurgent in doing stuff on the weekend. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah, you were saying.
it's
you-
kind of a good time. Yeah.
Let's go brunch
Yeah.
ish.
Brunch, yeah, with 5% sodas. And yeah, so that kind of has been a thing. Have you guys experienced that now that your kids are somewhat older? You don't have to go to all the sporting events. You don't have to. You have
I'm-
8,000.
I'm in. I am in. I'm
You're in the
it.
belly of the beast.
I am in the belly of it right now, so I'll sit this one out.
Oh,
boys.
yeah. I just
Well, you two tackle this one.
well, we're having. It's just good to have a little bit more time, but it's something that I didn't
Dude.
think I'd have, but now all of a sudden we do, and I do miss the sporting events, especially because I coach soccer
Mhm.
during the fall. It was like I was
coach
there.
soccer.
I did. And
It's the
know,
same as
did you do
hockey,
well?
right?
I was successful. Okay, I was successful.
Come on, he coached the Stars to a 2015
Yeah.
championship.
So, but not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden, we're out kind of hanging out and having fun. I don't think there's a guilt to it, but there is a little bit of a
It's different.
it's
It's
like
different.
what happened, all of a
Mhm.
sudden.
Well, I think I can tell you this: having kids later than a lot of you all, like I really listened. Like I really try to stay in it and really soak it up. So that, and not that you guys have like, I'm not saying that you have regret about any of it.
Yeah.
But it's just the more you can stay in it and realize, yes, with all the chaos, there's so much good, right? And they're the times. They are the times.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We, Jen and I, absolutely right. Now we always made space while we were, while the kids were growing up, that we were going to go do things, and it wasn't always like just one-on-one time. We'd have another couple or do things with a group and stuff like that. But we made good space to get out of the house to do like adult things, even some trips and like that. But our kids have, since let's say 16, when Wes, for the last 3 years, 2.5 years, he was driving, we had an additional set of freedom. We've capitalized on it. Like, there would never be a night like last night. Hey, let's go grab dinner up at the Mexican restaurant. We'll have a margarita or whatever and just hang out and, have a great conversation, whatever, shoot the shit. Last night that happened, and that happens more and more. And I think that people need to rekindle that because that
Yeah.
can be gone for a while.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, the house is going to be empty,
Well, yeah.
in a sense, in the next year and a half for us. You got to be able to do things to take time and enjoy things together. You can't just sit, go experience. And I think experience also brings people closer together. So, yeah,
The kids
I've
are
always
watching
tried
that
to
too,
do that.
right?
Yeah, they see
Kids are
it.
watching
They
that
see
too.
it.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Dad,
They see it.
what's the priority?
Yeah.
Right. I always tell my kids I love them, but I love
Mhm.
Mom more.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
She
and I
came
mean,
first.
Grain of
so,
salt,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're-
It's all
For your
relative.
I get it.
Yeah.
but when the kids understand that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just finding time within the chaos to be able to put the time in that you want to put in, and yeah, we've done definitely more. At the same time, I'd sit there and go, I'd like to do more, and so trying to put the effort in to do more with my wife is definitely higher on the priority list.
Yeah. Well, talking about chaos and higher on the priority list, let's go back 10 years ago when we won the championship at Hardy's Ice Complex.
What a night!
What a night.
What a day! What a night!
Spectacular. What a
And-
season.
Can't believe I had
What
to
a
leave early.
season. Underdogs.
Of all the nights I had to leave
Underdogs.
early, that one.
Yeah.
That was the night.
Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people choose wisely. Some
Yeah,
people choose
I
poorly.
still
But-
feel like partook
Mhm.
in grand fashion.
But when you
I
think about us having this extra time now,
Yep.
10 years ago our kids were much younger. and we were playing every Sunday,
Yes.
and it was for 3 or 4 hours, maybe 8, depending on when the game was.
I
and
think-
how many
my
beers
wife
you had
always said,
afterward.
I don't understand why you complain about the late games. You come home at 2 in the morning anyway.
No matter what.
No matter what, you're home at 2.
I think we have a pitch coming here to come out of retirement.
So, but what's funny about that is we did end up playing that, and I remember, I believe there were several kids there at the beginning. Like the
yeah.
kids came to the game,
Yeah,
and
my kids, yeah.
yeah, and so when you think about it, do they remember that? Was that a memory for them?
Mhm.
We remember maybe some of it. Depends on what time you got home and destroyed a cardboard,
Playhouse.
playhouse at your house, Steve.
Allegedly.
Whoa. No spilling beans.
That never happened.
Jesus, Burger.
Sorry. Well, it's
There
been
may
10
have
years.
been-
It's been 10 years.
It has. There are no wounds that'll be opened
Oh,
with this one.
all right.
But I mean,
Podcast that comes out. All right.
but when you think about your kids, when they look back at their parents and they see that they had a good time and they did this, that's something that they did. You hope they kind of do the same thing. They,
Oh my
they
God.
are doing something that's allowing them to have this friendship. I mean, we've been together now for way longer than that even, but it's like you hope your kids have that same type of friendship.
Mhm.
And with social media and the phone, sometimes that's not the case. You can't
Yep.
really have that because friends can come and go. But I don't know. How do you guys think about that?
You
Again,
celebrate a victory with somebody, right? You're going to remember it. And even with my kids, both of them, like with their school, they have this thing. It's called like St. Louis has city county for parochial
CYC?
schools. Yeah,
Yeah.
CYC. And it's a big thing if you win city county. And the biggest things are, soccer and basketball.
Yeah.
And both my kids, they've won it in, soccer. My son won it one time, but my daughter won it all 3 years. And then they weren't able to do it during the COVID year. But those girls that like she went with, like they're like the tightest they can possibly be,
Yeah.
right? It's super cool. I was just moving, so when I joined the team, I didn't know these guys from Adam, right? I moved into the neighborhood. There's this thing that our neighborhood does that's called the pig roast, and we're down there for the first time.
Memorial
and-
Day.
Yep, Memorial Day,
Yeah.
pig roast, absolutely. And so I meet these guys for the first time, and talking to Kaylee, and
I almost shook my arm right off my body.
he's like,
Hand
"You
to
look
God.
familiar, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I get that. You look familiar too." Like big smile. Like I definitely know this guy. Where do I know? So we go through the whole. Do we know you from work? Right? Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? And then Kaylee goes, "Did you used to play hockey at Brentwood on Wednesday and Friday nights?" And I'm like, "I did." And he's like, "You've got an older brother that looks just like you." And I'm like, "I do." And he goes,
And he's got a lookalike too.
"Yeah." and he's like, "You're moving into the neighborhood." I'm like, "Yeah, we're building the house right now." So he right then goes, "Congratulations. You're going to be on the Stars this coming fall." And I'm like, "Dude, I haven't skated in like 7 years, right? I haven't done
Doesn't
anything
matter.
since." And he's like, "Nope, you're
Not in that
you're
league.
back."
He's
He's
one of
like,
the
"You're
boys.
back."
Yeah, not in that. league.
So, living in the neighborhood it goes on for, let's say 6 months or whatever. And now it's hockey season and these guys show up and they're like, "Let's go." And I bring the old hockey bag out and we play. That's when I met you and Hockey Pat and Hockey Ed and Schlechte. Like
Yeah.
they talked about Schlechte like he was this magical creature.
Which
Awesome.
he is.
He is.
Yeah.
And dude, we went on those was it 5 years or so that we played because it kind of killed it at COVID when we couldn't play anymore. So spectacular. That
Party's
made
Iceplex going down. Rest in peace.
that made all of us super tight, right?
Yeah.
That made all of us buddies to where some of
You were all at my 50th.
the best friends.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
That's
we were
exactly
all
right.
there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the thing I liked about it, like at the 50th, I hadn't seen Schlechte in 2
Yeah.
years. I haven't seen you in 2 years, right? I haven't seen Hockey Pat in 2 years. Pick it up like that.
Yeah.
And I think that like that camaraderie and the team stuff, you never lose it, right? You have a good team that you really like being a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to those every Sunday nights. It was special.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out.
Did you get what you
been great.
needed? Did we?
We went through pretty much what we were supposed to.
That was so much fun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Anytime.